Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Saturday, May 18th, 2019. My name is Rich, and joining me once again this week is Bijan. How are you making out?
I'm good, man. Excited. And a huge congratulations to Rich and all of our listeners and everything. We made it.
We did. And where we made it is to another milestone that we wanted to celebrate with you. We have reached 100,000 downloads very slowly over a 4-year period, but we have gotten here, and it's very cool to be here.
Yeah, congrats, everyone. Yay!
To celebrate the milestone, I kind of wanted to look back. So I thought, we've done a lot over the last few years. We've kind of had a journey, and you've had a journey with us, and I kind of wanted to look back over the episodes, see what has happened in that time, and share that with some of you that may have come in later in the episodes. Maybe we'll look back and see some things that are funny or cringy and everything in between.
Let's get to the highlights, bro.
All right, starting with the cringy, we have initially with the episode, when I started, it was just me. Definitely worth noting. And after 3 episodes, I was getting comments on Reddit and other places where I posted. And I want to quote this one. Here's a comment that I got on Reddit. Good podcast, but you need a co-host to bounce conversation and opinions off of. Perhaps a comedic friend for humor and an athletic person who has run the course before for insight. I do wish you the best, as this could be a truly great podcast if you get the right people to join you. So thank you, user Bijan151, wherever you are now.
Yeah, I wonder who that is.
So yes, you were 100% right with that. Thank you for the recommendation. Very glad you joined me.
Yeah, man, I'm happy that it worked out. And yeah, 400 episodes later, we're still here, man.
Yeah. Before Bijan joined me, though, I really should mention, give a quick shout out to my original co-host, VICI. She was actually a fixture for a while in the original intro. So for those that missed that, I'm actually going to play the train wreck that was our original intro right now.
You're listening to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Here is your host, Rich.
Did you miss that, Bijan? Did that give you a nice, warm, fuzzy feeling?
It was so bad. It was my biggest complaint always. I was like, why? It's so bad.
Yeah, so I wanted something quirky. When it was just me, it was hard. It's really hard to find an intro, to be honest.
I'm sure.
We'll get to when we switched it out a little bit later, but I'm glad. I miss Vicky.
You're on an island with that one, bro. But
it was such a weird idea.
This all sounds terribly interesting.
But yeah, it was a cool little experiment. It was mainly being sarcastic to those people that said I needed a co-host.
Ooh,
but
that sounds very difficult.
The intro, the mishmash of the whole thing just didn't really work. Still finding my feet. It was still kind of early on.
Yeah. Hey, you did what you needed to do, and hey, you were the one. You were the one out of a sea of people. I guess other than the Final Siege podcast, really covering American Ninja Warrior, and I'm glad you did, because now, I'm not trying to cause credit for anything, but I'm just saying there's there's more podcasts, and I'm really happy that the sport's expanded. I think we're the only one that is actually around during off season, but I'm glad. Well, I think there's
a couple others.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their little niche, right? It's kind of cool. I love listening to them. The whole reason I started is because I wanted to listen to a podcast on Ninja Warrior. So, Ninja Babes is fantastic. I listen to every episode. Andrew Ninja Warrior, love it.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just great all around. So early on, I wanted to talk to some of the ninjas. Kind of the other motivating factor was to talk to some of these people that I idolized. And looking at the sea of ninjas, I thought, well, who's the least scary? Who's friendly and might actually talk to me? And I talked to Megan Martin. She was our first interview on the podcast. That was episode 5. So I'm going to play a little clip from that here.
Okay. Now, during the run, when you were on the modified ring toss, you got kind of hung up for a second. Do you remember that moment?
I did. or I do remember it. Yeah, my swing started going a little bit wonky, but I don't know, I felt pretty comfortable on that obstacle because I was holding on to rings, which is a lot better than most climbing holds I'm ever holding on to, so I knew I wasn't going to let go, so I just had to stop my swing so I could get started again and make it go a little more straight. So I wasn't really worried. It was pretty funny. I think I started laughing during the middle.
You did. You let out a little laugh. They mentioned that climbers don't tend to panic in these situations. Is that something you find to be true?
Yeah, I do think that's an accurate assessment because I think a lot of the climbing stuff, if we do get hung up, it is still a lot easier than what we're normally doing when we're trying to climb. So you have a little bit more confidence going into those obstacles.
Man, I totally forgot she was the first guest. In my head, it was always Andrew Lowe's or Andrew Lowe's and the Kid, if I remember correctly. That one that stood out to me. But yeah, Megan Martin, the OG. And really, I mean, at that time, she's always been a huge fixture in ANW. So major props for her for taking the time and the risk, or not risk, but I mean, just taking the time to give you the time of day and be part of this.
Yeah, especially when you listen to the audio quality in the beginning. And I was nervous and not knowing what I was doing. But it was very cool to talk to her. She was super nice, as all of our guests have been.
Yeah, but let's go back. Because you were really, really early on in the podcast and you were doing it yourself and everything and still catching your feet. How nervous were you, preparing for that podcast?
It's incredibly nerve-wracking. For those, I encourage every last one of you to start a podcast about something other than A&W. But it's very nerve-wracking, especially the very first one. I didn't have a template. I didn't know what an A&W podcast should sound like. So I just decided to start talking into the mic. And I think the first 10 minutes I recorded, I scrapped and then started over. And then I was just like, well, you know what? I know I'm going to hate it no matter what I do. Let's just start putting them out and figure it out as we go.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's kind of like a lot of people figuring out the ropes for a YouTube channel, videos and such. Over time, you just, it's kind of like trial and error. You find what works and doesn't.
Yeah. So episode 9 is actually the first one that you joined me on, which is funny because when I look back, it's the season 7 finale. It is the one time we've had 2 people compete on stage 4. That was your first episode.
Damn, that was my first episode. Wow. I mean, I had thoughts. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it went pretty well. Listening back, it actually holds up relatively well. The audio quality is not there, but overall, I think we kind of fell into it pretty quickly. We got more energy later on. I think we learned to do a little bit better of a job, especially me. You a little practice. You have a degree in this thing, and I think early on you were pretty good. I was kind of wavering a little bit and not bringing enough to it.
I think you're not giving yourself enough credit. I think you were perfectly kind of like the straight man to my craziness, and it works out. And when I always listen to podcasts, the things that work the best are the person that I guess has the structure, kind of like the host that has all the information and is grounded. And that's clearly you, because I could never bring all that information. My brain moves 1,000 miles a second, But I'll definitely bring the energy and the extra. I got that for days, bro. So I think it works out absolutely perfectly. Give yourself more credit, man. We could not be this way unless you brought all the information and knowledge and awesomeness that you do.
Well, thank you. I try to do that a little better now. Early on, I think it was a little rough. Listen back. So, but yeah, I know it sounds like I'm going to be going through every episode here. I'm hitting a lot of the early ones, but
no,
yeah, definitely not doing that. We're gonna condense it. It's gonna skip ahead a bit here as we go. But I got to mention episode 10 because episode 10 was kind of I feel like a pivotal moment. I had an interview with Matt Eisman, which I did not think I was going to get. I was incredibly excited for that.
Yeah, that's big.
And it was right after Jeff and Isaac's whole thing. So I got to ask him the questions that other fans really wanted in that moment, including me. I wasn't even really considering that I was the person kind of representing the fans in that moment. And I got to ask him, about that weird moment where the two of them squared off. And I want to play that clip here. of his answer, because I still think it's kind of one of the highlights of the podcast.
We kind of had an upset in that balance this year, and I'm sure you know what I'm going to refer to. So we finally had people complete stage 4, and then we learned that suddenly, after these years of, like you said, great camaraderie between the competitors, that we now have a face-off between two of them, which was, I don't know if it was awkward there. Everybody still seemed very supportive of everyone.
Well, the reality is, and I get that. I get a lot of people who said that. But if you look at it, there still always has been a degree of competitiveness in it. In that, for instance, we have 15 slots, so it's who goes down to the farthest, the fastest. So this has existed all along in every phase of it. It's just that because the money wasn't at stake and it wasn't really two people coming down to it, I don't think it was as obvious that was the case. So while I get what people were saying, in reality, both of them are American Ninja Warriors. We made a point of that. So I hope that was clear in the show. I think a lot of people didn't catch that message, and that we said both of them have earned the title of American Ninja Warrior. Isaac got the money.
I mean, there you go, man. That's history. I mean, at that point, if I remember correctly, that was the first time, I guess, official A&W person really addressed the controversy. And that was a big, big controversy. So I'm really glad they did it. And I got to say, both you and Matt Eisman did, I guess, were respectful to everything. And I think these situations, you kind of have to go with an easy tone, just because there's so much vitriol on both sides, and really you need to give respect to everybody involved.
Thank you. I tried to do that, and I still try to do that. Try to give everybody their fair shakes, try to make sure that we see all the sides. We do give the show a hard time when we feel like it's earned, when they feel like they've stepped too far in one direction or another, but we also recognize that it's a difficult task to balance, right? So, I feel like that was one of those times where it worked out well.
Yeah, that said, I mean, there's been a lot of times I've been critical because it's something that I love. And it's one of those hard things because you never want to be that fanboy that just hates everything because it's not exactly how you want it. Like, let's be real, like Game of Thrones right now, granted or not, there's some people that are a little ridiculous in terms of the hate train and variety of other things, right? I don't ever want to be that person, and I think it's important to always have a realistic viewpoint, but also not be like, oh, everything they do is great. Like, I'm sorry, Horse Abs was terrible, and there's a variety of other things, but there's so much that they do well. So it's nice to, I guess, voice your opinion, and I certainly hope people respect our opinions, and I certainly always respect everybody else's thoughts. So one of my personal highlights, just going into it, Rich, one of my personal highlights is simply just hearing everyone's thoughts after every episode, everybody reaching out to us and giving their thoughts. I think it's really, really interesting. In particular, honestly, when people disagree with us, I love that.
I do too. Respectful disagreement's great. Like it's really interesting to see other people's takes, especially, we might go hard on something and we'll get people right in and say, I actually really liked that, or I thought that was really inspirational, or, because sometimes we'll get down on the inspirational stories and things like that. And some people are like, hey, like, I thought that was a good story. I don't know why you guys didn't like it, or I liked that obstacle. Why didn't you guys? And that back and forth is kind of what helps drive the show. That's why at the end of every episode, we don't ask you to go rate and subscribe and everything. Like, we ask you to reach out to us. Let us know what you're thinking. That's what keeps us motivated.
Yes, and please continue to do so, in particular when the new season's coming up, because from the previews that I'm seeing, there's going to be some talking points for everybody involved. Yeah. We'll keep it vague like that. I don't want to spoil anything.
They seem to be changing up a lot, and we will definitely get into that when we can. So after that was all said and done, so we've got the season 7's wrapped. We talked to Matt Eisman, kind of found out what was going on with the final, and then we had to make that choice. And I love the choice we made. It was, you know what? Let's go in the off season. Let's just keep going. I don't even know what we're going to cover, what we're going to do, but we'll figure it out as we go. Yeah,
I mean, during that time there was no Team Ninja Warrior or any of the offshoots, so I was like, I don't know about this, bro. But I gotta say,
skeptical.
Yeah. But I gotta say, now that there's so much content and spin-offs and shows in the off season, really there's no real reason for us not to cover different things. Because Armchair Ninja Podcast started as an American Ninja Warrior podcast, but I feel like nowadays it covers everything obstacle course shows. I mean, there's so much content on television. We couldn't even cover, I don't want to cover Titan Games, to be real with you, but we couldn't even get to Titan Games because there was A&W Junior, which is far superior. And that $1 Million Mile show, honestly, I would love to cover it. That looked fun. And to this day, we've never done Broken Skull Ranch and a few others, Rich. Like, there's a lot of shows out there.
Yeah, it's like it's a never-ending flow. Initially, we did A&W Season 1, started doing some interviews, just trying to kind of bide some time. And thankfully, National Ninja League and Team Ninja Warrior rescued us in that quote-unquote off-season and really lifted us up and gave us something great to talk about. I was always grateful for that, and we thoroughly enjoyed Team Ninja Warrior.
Hot take, man. I'm going to put you on the spot. Out of all the spinoff shows that's been out for A&W, what's your favorite?
Oh, man. I guess I would say Ninja vs. Ninja.
Oh, you like Ninja vs. Ninja. That was a fun one. So you're talking about the latest one, not Team Ninja Warrior or anything, but Ninja vs. Ninja, right?
I feel like Ninja vs. Ninja, they cleaned up those few little nitpicky things, and it was really, really good. I would have liked... The only thing it was missing was Jesse Graff, Joe Morawski, and Drew Dreschel. Other than that, it was perfect.
Mm-hmm. So I really liked College Ninja Warrior. I found that really a breath of fresh air. But really, that kind of... I guess it culminated into A&W Junior. And I really, really enjoyed that. But I worry that I have too much recency bias when it comes to that. So I think I'm going to have to agree with you, Rich, in terms of Ninja versus Ninja. Just because I remember the first 2 seasons of Team Ninja Warrior, it was enjoyable, but there were definitely some things that I was like, ugh. And if Ninja versus Ninja was the first time we really got a huge step up in terms of production, like in terms of the production values and the editing and things like that. So yeah, I would have to agree with you. I want to have, more talking points, being kind of a contrarian, but dude, Ninja vs. Ninja was the thing. And what sucks is that's the one that I guess didn't get enough views.
Yeah, I don't get it. And it's funny because you had the exact same thought I did. Was I almost picked A&W Junior. It really was. It's the one that jumped to the front of my mind, but I'm trying to avoid the recency bias, like you said. That's the only thing that makes me not pick it, is just to avoid, because it's fresh in my mind. But otherwise, I would put it very much on par.
Yeah, give us like a few months and maybe A&W Junior will jump up there. I just don't know how much it's going to stay, I guess, in my mind, in my memory.
We should probably thank, at this point, early on, Atomic Climbing Holds actually sponsored us, which allowed us to buy better microphones, so the audio quality went up, and sent out posters to all the ninja gyms. It was actually a huge help. So go check out Atomic Climbing Holds if you want to have some climbing holds for your house. Use discount code podcast. Save 10%.
Check out Atomic Climbing Holds. I can't say enough of how much they actually boosted up this podcast, just because in the beginning days, the level of audio quality by just simply sponsoring us really raised us to another level. And in many ways, it gave us, or at least myself, the confidence to take this not more seriously, but like really go for it. Just because, for me, people believed in us. I think it was one of the first times I felt like people were really believing in us, and that made a world of difference for me. And yeah, till this day, I cannot thank Atomic Climbing Holds enough.
Yeah, I'm glad we took a second to do that, because they definitely did. He said it kind of felt like it legitimized us to an extent, right? It felt like we were a real podcast at that point.
Mm-hmm. And if people want to know why we don't get many sponsorships now, we definitely do get offers, but there's someone that is very, very picky about it because, he doesn't like making commercials. So send all of your hate mail to rich@ninjapodcast.com.
I don't want to promote something that we don't believe in. And yeah, I mean, if you want to sponsor us, if you have a ninja gym or you have some product, you reach out to me. Hey, will be under consideration. I don't mind making commercials. Don't listen to him. We are very affordable too, I will add. But so that's great. So you mentioned our favorite, spin-offs. what is, like, if you had to think of all the ones we covered, all these spinoffs, we've done so many, what is probably the worst one that we did?
Oh man, the problem is, like, I just know there's a spinoff that I just erased from my mind, and I absolutely know what it is now. UK Ninja Warrior. Screw that show. Oh my god, I hate it. It is awful. It is an abomination. I don't care what people say. If it's getting a little bit better, it's awful. It's terrible. Those hosts are the worst. Oh, I hate that show.
Yeah, it'd probably be mine too. Spartan Ultimate Challenge isn't far behind it for me though.
Ooh. Yeah, that one hurts just because of the potential being there. I mean, for people that don't know, I do Spartan races regularly. This year, I'm taking a break off of it for a full year to train A&W, but Spartan race has a very, very special place in my heart. I've been doing it for 10 years. I am a multi-time Spartan trifecta runner, and this abomination of a show, which really doesn't have any heart or soul of proper Spartan racing. I mean, I really try to give it like a chance, so to speak, but it just got so bad.
Yeah, after we did Spartan Ultimate Challenge, we actually, so moving along here to episode 45, we were joined by Jeff Britton to kick off season 8, and it really bears mentioning because I feel like that is where we really hit our stride. I like that episode. I'm very proud of that episode. I think everything flowed nicely. I was very, Jeff was a great guest. We had good information from him, had a good rundown of season 8. I just, everything about it seemed to come together for that episode. And it kind of blueprinted for me how I wanted to have the ninjas on from that point on, because up until then we did interviews. I'm not a fan of doing interviews. I like having people on to kind of talk ninja, just talk through it, like cover episodes and fanboy or fangirl with us.
Yeah, it was fun, and it was the right format to have, just simply because they can react and talk with us in a, I guess, like a realistic manner. It's no longer question, answer, and it's a little bit more, I guess, I don't know the term, but it wasn't real, right? And with that format, we can still ask questions like in a more relaxed way, and we get answers that are a lot more real. And yeah, I love the format. And hey, everyone, if you have a ninja that you particularly would like to have on the podcast, let us know, because season's coming up, and now's the time where we might be looking at people.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, I'm going to play a little clip here of that episode just to remind you what it was like.
Hey, Jeff, side question for you. What's the hardest stage on American Ninja Warrior for you?
Everyone. Every single one. The hardest stage is the qualifiers, and then it's the finals, and it just keeps going.
I feel you there, man.
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't get easier as you go along, I guess, so it would always feel like it was the hardest one you had to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, physically, stage 3 was the hardest. That really took it out of me. I was extremely exhausted after that, but a city finals course is always hard. It's a lot. You never really do a course with that many obstacles, and they're pretty hard. Like, you have stage 1 is almost as long, but the obstacles are, I don't want to say easier, but they're more of a running and jumping instead of running and jumping and doing upper body. You get to the last obstacle, the invisible ladder, and your arms are dead. I've never really seen anybody get there fresh. So I'd say those 2 stages are the hardest. That's why there's so few people with the badges on. They're hard.
So that was cool and everything, but right after that, kind of I don't want to say life-changing, but not far from it, experience was actually attending a taping of A&W. So after talking to Jeff, I went to go meet him, and around the same time, just shortly before this, you had gone to your first taping of A&W in LA.
Mm-hmm. What were your thoughts of the tapings?
It's such a surreal experience. It's still the only one I've been to. I only went to the one. Got to get back for another one at some point, but I can't overstate when you are from the middle of nowhere how crazy it is to step onto like a TV or movie set and have these people that you've seen only on the magic box in your living room and to be there and see them live and have them recognize you and talk to you and interact with you. I will never forget it.
I'm really glad you had fun. For me, it's kind of the opposite. I mean, I live in San Diego, which is really close to Los Angeles. I don't know if it's kind of just like whatever to me, but when I went to the tapings, I'm like, it's cold. It's long. Like, and really like it's spoiling it for me because I want to react in person. So yeah, I guess I'd be that contrarian where I don't necessarily enjoy going to the tapings too much. That said, if I was in like Vegas or something like that, I would love it. But for me, the LA tapings, unless I'm like competing, I guess maybe it's that. It's kind of like me and watching like soccer or something. I would much rather be on the field competing than watching it.
Yeah, I remember thinking that.
Well, in the audience, so to speak. I'd rather watch it on TV.
I still remember that because you went first, right? LA tapings were first before Philly, and you just didn't sound like it was that big of a deal to you, and I couldn't understand that at all. Like, but that makes sense, right? Like you're close to LA, you've seen filming before. It's not a big deal to you. It was just everything about it was like crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, I literally filmed a commercial for San Diego City like the other week. It's on television right now. Like, it's not a big deal to me. But I can imagine, as you said, like, I don't know how many people live in your town, Rich, but I think it's a lot more smaller and close-knit and everything, right?
Yeah, there's like 70,000 people here. So, and if you want to reach a city of 1 million people, it'll take about 8 hours driving.
Ugh.
Yeah, it is not a big place. But you mentioned, I got to bring up something here because you mentioned a minute ago horse abs, and I don't know that everyone gets that reference. So
it's been a while, but this is like a hallmark. I had thoughts.
It is definitely a hallmark moment.
Please tell me you have that clip.
So it's episode 48. It is the first appearance of horse abs. So I'm going to play that clip right now so you can hear it. It is a competitor who had a very long segment which featured a horse and his abs very prominently before he fell on the first obstacle.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But boy, that damn vignette video. What the hell was that? Like, the whole time I was staring at the TV with like a side eye, and I was just like, bruh, really? Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my eyes rolled so hard, I'm surprised you didn't hear them. It was really, really over the top. Intentionally, granted, it was really over the top on purpose, but it was too much. It was way too much.
Yeah, just all that. And the problem for me is that later on in the episode, they skipped over some people that completed the course. And that's where it comes back to this, where I'm like, did we really have to have this long? Especially for the fact that he fails on the first damn obstacle. A part of me was giddy because I'm like, yes. Like, this guy was literally making me miss Rob Morosky. I'm like, where's Rob Morosky? Can we get that guy back? At least, he, like, actually does well in the course somewhat. Like, what the hell is this? You guys hear that straight fire from me? Like, I was so triggered. Just because this was, at this point, we had a season, like, it's coming off a season where we had two completionists. We had the first American Ninja Warrior and the first Grand Champion. Like, such a big deal. And now this next season, we get stuff like this where the same troublesome vignettes are happening. We spend over probably like 4 minutes on a guy. And no, like, when I say horse abs, I really don't mean to discredit the person. I wish him the best. It's not his fault. I mean, I've been there with the editing. It's not. It's all about the editing rather than the person, right? But, man, I hated everything about this. By the fact that they spent so much time on it, it really wasn't a story. It went nowhere. It was almost offensive in terms of, like, like, let's be real. If they did something similar for a woman, not cool. And I don't know. He falls on first obstacle. I'm like, what are you doing?
I love that we wound you up again that easily, like immediately right back.
Triggered, Rich.
You went for several minutes back. Like, I only grabbed a small clip of it, but you went on for several minutes.
That was calm Bijan, covering this.
But I have one more clip from that episode that I have to play now because I stumbled onto this and it just struck me as funny.
But them abs, apparently abs, do it. Now I know the key. If I'm ever on the show, you're going to see me with my shirt off because I have abs, and apparently I'll be a heartthrob.
There you go.
Yeah, I totally forgot I said that. Wow. Does that mean I need to work on my abs, man?
I think so.
I'm 30, I'm so fit, but I haven't been working out my abs all that much. Got to get that 6-pack going.
You got to keep that promise for this next season. So you're preparing for Ninja Warrior. That means you need to prepare your abs as well.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'm not going to say I'm going to do it, but I'll try my best. Like, I tell my fiance, like, Sarah, she's already got a 6-pack. She's already got that set. So I just tell her, like, hey, we're I don't know, Jesse Graff top type thing, and show off your abs. We'll get you on the show.
That's a great unintentional transition, because actually the next thing I wanted to bring up was episode 59, the infamous Jesse Graff episode.
Oh, boy. And when I say, oh, boy, one of our best episodes, I'd probably say our best guest, just because of how cool she was, down she was. And in terms of like a star of this show, like not needing to be on our podcast, like what an amazing human being.
Especially in that moment. Man. That's the thing. Yeah, sorry for cutting you off there, but yeah,
no,
I agree. It's not her that was the problem.
Yeah. We have never had such technical issues ever. And of course it happened while we were interviewing our biggest guest. I mean, Jeff Britton, Jesse Graff, however you want to put it. But, I mean, why don't you tell them what happens, Rich?
Yeah, it was just a nightmare of my internet. It was all on my side, right? My connection kept dropping. John was talking to Jesse for long periods, trying to keep, everything, keep her engaged, keep everybody awake, because it was getting later and later. And here she was in the middle of the firestorm of how she had done so amazingly well on the course. So her time was even more valuable than usual. And infinite patience for us. Recorded over 2 nights. We had hours and hours of footage, most of it just garbage to dig through to piece together an episode. But at the end of the day, the episode came out pretty great because she gave us so much to work with that thankfully I was able to piece it together.
Yes, I will always be thankful for everything that Jesse Graff did. Even after it, she was always in, like connection with us, always talking to us, and just always open to being on the podcast again and helping us out in other areas. And I'll always be thankful for
her. Skipping ahead here, because we are taking a long time to get through the beginning here. Definitely some bigger jumps now.
How many things do we got, Rich?
There's only a couple more.
Okay, but I'm like, dude, let's go fly, because, okay.
We got like 4 more things. 4 more things I want to bring up.
That's not bad, okay.
Yeah. Next thing I want to bring up is Drunk 20 Questions. That are our New Year's episode 86.
Dude, I love them. I'm still curious if people hate them or love them. It's one of those things where I just don't know. But I have fun.
Yeah, I do too. I seem to get a lot of good feedback on it. I don't think I've ever gotten any bad feedback. It's fun to do. It's confusing and jarring, and it's a nightmare to edit, to be honest. You guys do not hear how long it takes us. It might seem like we're, I leave in like 5 seconds of us thinking, but it could be 15, 20 seconds of us just going, I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah. In particular, me, I suck at that game. I don't know why I thought of it, but I suck at that game. I have the worst memory on the planet, and put alcohol in me, it's even worse. Yeah. If you're under 18, you're a kid, don't listen to those podcasts.
Yeah. It is definitely an adult activity, and it is hilarious to listen to you struggle sometimes.
Yeah.
And I have to say that is probably our number one comment, is people get so frustrated with you because they know the answer after a few questions.
I know the answer.
You just keep dragging on.
I know them. When like sober me is listening back, I'm screaming at, well, I mean, to be fair, I've already lived it, so I know. But like, I am like, how dumb do you have to be, Drunk Bajan? Like, it's just so annoying. But hey, my brain works in weird ways.
Yeah, I think I had to take it easy. If I remember this last season, because I was laid up with the broken leg, we had to take it a little easier. But it'll be good this year. We'll go hard again.
It'll be fun times, guys. Look forward to that on the new year.
Episode 112 bears mentioning. Thomas Stillings is our most downloaded Ninja guest. So of all the people we've had on, Matt Eisman, Jesse Graff, Jeff Britton, all these different people, it's the Thomas Stillings Stillings episode that got the most downloads.
Because he's the homie, man. Thomas was great. One of my favorite guests on, just because he's a genuine fan and really, I guess, his charisma showed through, I guess is the best way to describe it. Like, he's a natural for podcasting.
Yeah, we had so much fun talking with them. I'm going to play a little clip here to bring you back through some of the discussion. But go back and listen to the episode. It holds up really well. I had trouble picking a clip because I just was enjoying the whole episode.
Public light. Because, like, the dab in the Running Man was the equivalent of him doing a fidget spinner right now. And that's just not going to be cool.
I was just about to say, at least he didn't this year pull out a fidget spinner from his pocket.
Yeah, I was just waiting for
that
it.
That would have been brutal.
And Pokemon Go. I'm sure there was something you could have done that would have been worse, but it would be hard.
Hey, you can't nag on Pokemon Go. I may or may not have done something Pokemon related last year.
Oh, everybody was playing Pokemon Go last year. I may or may not have been out this past weekend, so I can't say much.
I remember last year in Season 8 when I hit the buzzer in Stage 1, I ran to the end and I just screamed out to the, directing my enthusiasm to the course that you don't have enough badges to train me.
That is actually awesome.
That's great.
That can go in many ways, honestly. Like, I could definitely see that being pretty awesome.
So yeah, Genie Ninja was definitely one of our favorites. And Thomas, if you're still a listener, you're welcome back anytime. Just reach out.
Yeah. I mean, it still really, really bothers me of how dirty they did to Thomas Stillings this season. 100% he should be on this season. My heart goes out to you, bro, but what an amazing guy to just, take it on the chin and just be so positive.
Yeah, out there course testing after that. Trying to stay positive here, but you had to bring it up because it's like, what does Thomas need to do? He is one of the most entertaining, successful ninjas that you've ever had on there. I do not understand why he didn't get chosen, but I'm going to move on for now. I will save my rage for when it gets to the region he should have been in.
Thank you. Yeah. If you guys don't think I'm going to have one of those epic rants, you must be mistaken. I have thoughts.
But on the positive side, we had episode 132. That would be our first episode with the Stage 5 Ninja Awards.
Dude, this was amazing. This was big. Not for us or anything, but just in general, like, what an amazing experience.
I love it. I have so much fun doing it. We will definitely be doing it again this year. This will be our third season. Taryn and Lita from Reality TV Wrap-Ups joined us, as well as Travis McClure from ANW Fantasy. And it's just a fun time. I love having them all on, kind of going through and recapping the season, picking out our favorites, and getting everyone else's opinions, which always kind of surprises me. There's always some ways that we don't line up in unexpected ways. Just a great time overall.
Yeah, it was amazing. This last one, please tell me if I'm wrong, Rich, but I believe every category had like a different vote. Like, none of them were unanimous, right?
Yeah, everything was contested right down the board.
Like, that says, like, there's a variety of opinions, and none of them are necessarily wrong. I love seeing that kind of stuff, and I'm really excited for what we have in store this season. It's just, I think it's a fun way to give back and culminate as fans, It's not one of these things where it's like, oh, we're going to yell at each other and get all angry because this ninja needed to win or whatever. It's like, nah, just I guess a celebration of everything that's Ninja Warrior.
Oh, that reminds me. It was such a weird little poll here, but Janique Levitt was on Ninja Babe podcast, and she was talking about how great it was when she had her run and everything else, and just kind of recapping it. Mm-hmm. And one of the things she said that she was excited about was that she had won Outstanding Rookie of the Year or something like that. And I went, wait a second. We're the only ones that do an award show for this thing. Oh my God, that's so cool that she was excited by that. She took that to heart, that she thought that was good.
Yeah, and I'm glad. Honestly, for me, the most important thing is that the ninjas know that they're acknowledged. I forget. I mean, it's apropos, but I remember last season or last awards we had a few ninjas that were really overlooked for their talents. I mean, there was one ninja that did, I think, as well or maybe a little bit better than Matisse Awadi, even though Matisse got like so many segments. Like, this guy was basically just barely shown. And I'm glad at least we can kind of give them a shout out. That said, I mean, it's apropos. I forget his name, so I kind of feel bad at that.
And I do too at the moment. So yeah, we picked the right person, I think.
Yeah, like clearly.
So the last episode I definitely had to mention was episode 151. Bijan gets the call.
Oh, play it, bro.
All right, here we go.
It looks like they did a bunch of, calls and everything to a lot of the athletes. So that's fun.
Yeah. Speaking of, get your call yet? Did you get your call yet?
Did I get my call?
Yeah, did you get your call?
Well, interestingly enough, Rich, I did get a call today.
What?
Guess what? I'm going to be on American Ninja Warrior, bruh!
Are you kidding me?
That is right, everyone. All the Armchair Ninjas and everybody. Bijan is going to be on ANW10. You're hearing it first.
Oh my God. Dude! You blindsided me with that. I can't believe you.
It's happening, y'all. It is happening.
Oh my
Rich, let's hear it.
God. I am so excited. Man, you blew my mind. I can't believe that. I asked that.
I've been holding that in all day.
Completely randomly. I was like, oh, I'll throw that out there just to make it clear that you hadn't gotten the call, but you actually got the call.
I have no idea what NBC sees in me, everyone, but I promise to every single one of you, I will give it my hardest. I will give everything I have.
I mean, I cannot believe you did that to me. Like, in the middle of recording the podcast, throw that at me. Like, I didn't even know what to say. I thought you were joking for a second. I wasn't sure what you meant. I was so confused, but it's cool to have it captured.
Dude, it was so hard to keep it in. But I knew it would be perfect to do it, on the podcast. And I'm glad we have that little moment, because that's really something special for this podcast. And in many ways, I wanted to go out there and really represent us, everybody that listens to us, all the listeners, and just the podcasting community in general. I'm really, really happy for. I forgot her name, but from Ninja Babes, she actually did far better than I did. And I'm really happy that there's multiple people representing from the fandom in A&W proper. I mean, I don't consider, I'm an athlete clearly, but I don't in any way, shape, or form consider myself an A&W athlete. But with this, I can always go back and say, hey, I did that. I was an American Ninja Warrior. And I'm really, really thankful to every single person that fought for me to be on the show. And I mean, I did my due diligence, of course, I put in the application and everything, but I very much appreciate the fact that when I was there, everybody, it was very much like a family, and everybody welcomed me with open arms, and I'll just never forget that experience.
Yeah, me too. And vicariously through you, right? As you clued me into how the process worked and where you're at and different things, and the fact that, different people that listened to us that we didn't even realize at the time. It was just a very, very cool experience, even on this end. Yeah,
it was pretty shocking being around all these big ninjas just chilling around and being like, hey, you're Bijan from A&W, Armchair Ninja Podcast. I'm like, yeah, hi. Okay, yeah. How's it going, Josh Levin? How's it going? Blah blah, all these people, and I'm like, that's really cool. Kind of starstruck.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much how I felt from the beginning of this whole thing, is starstruck, right? I idolize these ninjas. I've learned to appreciate them even more. Having tossed my hat into the climbing ring a little bit, I get a better appreciation for some of the obstacles, at least, like the hang climb. I get a better understanding of the challenge of that. And your perspective has helped me so much learn about the show, learn about the techniques and the terminology and how they have to approach these obstacles. Really glad we started it. Really glad we've come so far. Little by little, we're going to keep moving forward. And thank you, everyone that's listened along the way.
Yes, genuinely, thank you, everyone. Just rapid fire things I give a little shout out to Wolfpack Ninjas. they all reached out to us when they were planning on doing a podcast with themselves, and that feedback and that, talking back and forth. I'm really proud of everything that they've been able to do. And I'm just genuinely happy for Noah Kaufman and everybody involved with that. And, they've done a lot for us too. Brian Arnold and a few others covered for me when I was away. Also, want to give a special shout out to just everybody once again when I was taping. Really helped me out and calmed me in terms of filming and really kept me focused. And my bell, gotta say I love my bell. The Shane Bell will always stay, everyone.
And the athletically profound run of the night.
Yes. Oh man,
should have been mentioned.
I forget when that started, but man, what a quote! And then we just ran with it.
That and the retirement of the Palm Wonderful run of the night.
Oh, that triggered
warmed
you,
my
man.
heart.
Yeah. If you guys want to, Rich usually doesn't get triggered all that often, but the one thing that will really just send him over the edge, Palm Wonderful.
Yeah, so glad it's gone. Very, very glad. But yes, Wolfpack definitely should have been shouted out earlier in the episode. They have been a big help. Brian Arnold did cover for you, as did DJ Tight Pants.
Yes. Oh, sorry, DJ. Awesome dude. And I really, really enjoyed that episode. Great guy. He should look for a career in radio, man. Good voice for that.
Yeah, he's got a radio voice.
Yeah.
All right. That is it for this week. Thank you so much for listening once again. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can reach me as rich@ninjapodcast.com. I am at Ninja Podcast on both Instagram and Twitter. And John, how can they reach you?
Very quick, last minute shout out to the OGs Final Stage Podcast, Will and Arsenet. Love you guys. Yeah, hit me up at Twitter and Instagram at Bijan151. That is BIJAN 151.
All right, thank you all so much for listening and have a wonderful week.
Peace, love, and deuces, y'all.
Thank you all for listening and have a lovely day.